What if I told you that one of today's most iconic songs is about independence and shaped by the very bandmate it was supposed to escape? What if a survival anthem started as a songwriter's professional setback? Or what if a pop classic about writing songs was written, recorded, and re-recorded by 4 different artists, and only one of them convinced us? Tonight, we're talking about authorship, the truth hiding behind the credit line. Welcome back to Order the Pie, the podcast where music history, the stories behind the songs, and a little something in your glass all come together. And it's Christopher back with you again. You know, sometimes the songs that feel the most personal, the ones that sound like confession, weren't written by the artist who made them famous. And once you know who did, the meaning shifts because the authorship isn't always about who held the pen. Sometimes it's about who made the world believe it.
And now the end is near.
It feels autobiographical, but it wasn't. My Way peaked at number 27 on the Billboard Hot 100, but it spent 75 consecutive weeks on the UK charts. It became Sinatra's curtain call.
And so I face the final curtain.
The melody began as a French song called Comme Habitude, which means as usual. It was about a relationship stuck in routine, emotional repetition, and quiet resignation.
Je relève mon col comme d'habitude.
When Paul Anka heard the song in France, he loved the melody immediately. He knew that the music was strong, and he bought the rights right on the spot. But he didn't translate the lyric. He kept the melody and harmonic structure and rewrote the words entirely, turning a song about routine into a defiant farewell tailored for Sinatra himself.
And more, much more than this.
Not long after securing the rights, Anka had dinner with Sinatra in Miami. That night, Sinatra confessed he was restless, frustrated, and considering retirement. Anka went home and stayed up until dawn writing what he imagined Sinatra would say at the end of his career, shaping the phrasing to match his cadence, his breath, and his ego.
I did it my way.
It wasn't a memory, it was projection. Don Costa's arrangement swells with theatrical finality, strings rising, brass declaring, the ending sounding inevitable.
Regrets, I've had a few.
Sinatra recorded it because it gave him something powerful at that moment. He was 54, rock had taken over the charts, and culture was shifting. He was no longer defining the sound of the moment.
I did what I had to do, and saw it through.
My Way let him reclaim the narrative. It sounded like summation, like authorship, and like control. And yet later, Sinatra called the song self-indulgent. He felt boxed in by it, but audiences demanded it.
The record shows I took the blows.
The credit line lists Paul Anka, but when we hear My Way, we don't picture Anka, we see Sinatra.
And did it my
Released in 1971, It Don't Come Easy by Ringo Starr climbed to number 4 on the Billboard Hot 100. The Beatles were over and Ringo had something to prove. For years he had been the steady backbeat, the affable presence, and the occasional songwriter, but barely the headline. Now he wanted to stand on his own 2 feet. He wanted a real hit single with his name on it. He needed that one record to prove that he could carry the moment without the other 3, and for that he turned to somebody he trusted, George Harrison. And there's the irony. In trying to stand alone, Ringo leaned on the very band he was trying to step away from. The song didn't arrive fully formed. Early versions date back to sessions connected to George Harrison's All Things Must Pass. What began as a loose idea slowly took shape during those sessions. Harrison helped reshape the lyrics, refine the melody, produce the track, and add that unmistakable slide guitar. And on bass was Klaus Voormann, the artist who designed the cover for the Beatles' album Revolver. He had once visually deconstructed the band at their most experimental. Now he was helping build a solo Ringo record. Even in separation, the circle wasn't completely broken. At first, the single was listed as a Starkey Harrison composition. George's involvement was visible, but over time, the credits shifted. Later releases list Richard Starkey alone. No press conference, no public dispute, just a quiet correction of the record. If you're big enough to take it indeed. If Ringo wanted to hit with his name on it, eventually he got one. John Lennon later dismissed the song as sounding too Harrison-like. And if you listen closely, you can understand what he meant. The slide guitar is unmistakable, and the production carries George's touches. The collaboration wasn't hidden, it was audible. The credit line says Richard Starkey. The sound reflects George Harrison, but the voice is unmistakably Ringo. When Girls Just Want to Have Fun climbed to number 2 on the Billboard Hot 100 in 1984, it didn't just launch Cyndi Lauper's career, it introduced a persona. And here's a little known fact, she didn't write it. An artist named Robert Hazard wrote the song back in 1979, and his demo was from a male perspective, slightly tongue-in-cheek. The phrase Girls Just Want to Have Fun sounded commentary, almost dismissive. In Hazard's version, he sings, "I am the fortunate one." He positions himself at the center of the story. The girls are the subject, he is the observer. But in Lauper's version, she sings, the center shifts. It's no longer commentary, it's now testimony. The demo circulated in publishing circles for years. When Cyndi Lauper first began assembling material for what would become She's So Unusual, producer Rick Chardoff played it for her. Lauper almost rejected the song, but she recognized something inside of it. She didn't just change the pronouns, she rewrote the point of view. What had been a man commenting on women became a woman speaking for herself. She and her producer reshaped the track from inside out. The key was raised to sit naturally in her range, the rhythm tightened, and the tone shifted. Now let's take a heartbeat and listen to the beginning of the third verse. Now that line was written by a man. It begins from the outside, observing the dynamic. But when Lauper sings it, the perspective changes. She doesn't sound judged, she sounds aware. She sounds like she's taking the power back. She stretches the phrasing, she plays with the rhythm, and she leans into the line instead of sitting inside of it. Now, in Hazard's original version, there was a romantic bridge. He sings about her love for another man. The song narrows into a private love triangle, but she removed that completely and replaced it with independence. The lyrics may have begun from a male vantage point, but the authority in the room changes when she delivers it. Same chorus, different authority. Hazard's version never charted nationally. It became a demo that circulated quietly until somebody recognized its potential. Lauper took it, rephrased it, and launched it into a global hit. Same title, different ownership. And sometimes ownership doesn't change because the words change. It changes because the voice does. I Will Survive by Gloria Gaynor was never supposed to be a hit. When her album Love Tracks was finished in 1978, the label had already chosen its single, and it wasn't I Will Survive, it was a song called Substitute. That was the track they believed had more commercial potential. That was the safer bet. I Will Survive wasn't promoted as the headline, it was placed on the B-side. In the vinyl era, A-side was the priority. B-side was the afterthought. And for a moment, that's exactly what I Will Survive was. The song had been written by Freddie Perrin and Dino Figueres, seasoned songwriters who had worked inside the Motown system for years. And then they were fired.
I was petrified, kept thinking I could never live without you by my side.
Vaqueros later said that the lyric reflected how he felt walking out of the building, uncertain, shaken, but determined not to disappear. At first, the song was about professional survival, a writer trying to reclaim his place.
And how you did me wrong, and I grew strong, and I learned how to get along.
Freddie Perrin, now producing Gloria Gaynor, brought the song to her during the sessions for the album, and in her hands, the meaning deepened. Just months earlier, Gaynor had fallen off the stage during a performance and suffered a serious spinal injury that required surgery and months of recovery. She recorded the entire track wearing a back brace, and in later interviews, she said that the song's message took on a different weight because of what she was living through. So at the beginning, when she sang, "At first I was afraid," it wasn't just performance, it was recovery. And as you can hear, the song had already shifted once before it reached her. It began as writers processing the loss of their job, but on paper, it had shaped into a breakup anthem. Professional survival becoming romantic defiance. And in her performance, it became resilience. But even that wasn't the final transformation. In 1978, disco was driven by DJs. Clubs broke records before radio even touched them. DJs in New York clubs flipped the substitute record, and the audience reacted. The piano intro made it easy to mix, the slow build created tension, and the groove held the room. And then the strings rise, not softly, not politely. They surge behind her voice, and they don't just decorate the track, they amplify it. Dance floors responded, and radio followed. The label reversed course and reissued I Will Survive as the A-side. By early 1979, it climbed to number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100, and it even won the only Grammy ever awarded to the best disco recording. What began as one writer's setback became one singer's recovery, and then it became something chosen by the crowd. The lyric didn't stand still, it evolved. It was never just about a breakup. It carried the sting of a lost job, it carried the weight of a body in recovery, and on the dance floor, it became larger than both. I Write the Songs reached number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100 in January 1976, and it won the Grammy for Song of the Year. And when you hear the chorus to I Write the Songs, you picture Barry Manilow. Of course you do. He's at the piano, he's belting it out, he looks like the author, and he sounds like the author.
I've been alive forever.
Before becoming a pop star, Manilow made his living writing and arranging, including famous commercial jingles. He was a craftsman, a builder, a professional songwriter. And when he sings, I write the songs that make the whole world sing, it feels autobiographical, it feels declarative, it feels earned.
And I wrote the very first song.
I know you know where I'm going with this. Barry Manilow didn't write I Write the Songs. Bruce Johnson did.
I am music, and I write the songs.
And Bruce Johnson was a member of the Beach Boys, a keyboardist, arranger, and songwriter who joined the band back in 1965. He wasn't the mythic genius. He was the musician inside the machinery, writing, arranging, and layering harmonies. And when he wrote I Write the Songs, he didn't mean it as a personal boast. He later said that the song wasn't about him at all. It was about the spirit of music. The I in the lyric wasn't the songwriter. It was the music itself speaking, the force behind inspiration, the thing that moves through the artist.
I write the songs that make the whole world sing.
He wasn't claiming authorship. He was describing where the songs come from. Johnson recorded it first in 1975, and it was released as a single, but it didn't chart. Then, get this, in 1975, Captain and Tennille recorded it next for their Love Will Keep Us Together. This was the second released recording of the song.
I write the songs that make the whole world sing. I write the songs of love.
But wait, it gets even better. Later that year, Johnny Mathis released it as a single, and his version climbed to number 5 on the Billboard Hot 100.
I write the songs that make the whole world sing. I write the songs.
By the time Barry Manilow recorded it, the song had already been recorded 3 times. It had already been released, it had already been a top 5 hit, and it had already traveled. But then this happened. Manilow's version went to number 1.
I'm young again, even though I'm very old.
And now when audiences hear I write the songs, they don't picture Bruce Johnson or Captain Tennille or Johnny Mathis. They see Barry Manilow. Now here's the deeper irony. Like Frank Sinatra with My Way, Manilow initially resisted the song. He thought it sounded arrogant, self-congratulatory, and a little too on the nose. But once he recorded it, the performance reframed it. The cosmic narrator disappeared and the songwriter appeared.
My music makes you dance and gives you spirit to take a chance.
And we believed him. We believed Barry. The credit line says Bruce Johnson. The number 1 voice says Barry Manilow. And the song about writing songs became the signature hit of the man who didn't write it. Because authorship may live on paper, but identity lives in performance. Frank Sinatra didn't write My Way. Ringo Starr didn't shape It Don't Come Easy All Alone. Cyndi Lauper didn't write Girls Just Want to Have Fun. And Gloria Gaynor didn't write I Will Survive. Barry Manilow, last of all, didn't write I Write the Songs. And yet, when we hear them, we believe them. The credit line tells one story, and the voice tells another. And somewhere between the two, the song becomes ours. And for today's theme, we're mixing a corpse survivor. And since there's already a 1 and 2, this is a 3, and we're calling it the credit line. You're going to take 3/4 of an ounce of London dry gin, 3/4 of an ounce of Pierre Ferrand dry Curaçao, 3/4 of an ounce of Cocchi Americano, 3/4 of an ounce of fresh lemon juice, and 1/4 ounce of overproof Jamaican rum. Lastly, 1 dash of Angostura bitters. You're going to add all ingredients into the shaker with ice and then shake that hard for about 12 to 15 seconds. But before you strain, give the chilled coupe glass a quick absinthe rinse. What you do is you add 1/4 ounce of absinthe to the glass, swirl it around the coat the inside, then pour out the excess. Now strain the cocktail into the prepared glass, express a lemon peel over the surface, and discard. It looks like a classic equal parts revival, bright at first, structured underneath, just like today's songs. And before we close this out, I just wanted to say a quick thank you. We just crossed 1,000 podcast downloads, and I'm seeing more of you discovering our show on YouTube as well. Same show on YouTube, it's just a different platform. I'm also seeing a lot more people visiting whoorderedthepie.com, and I've been receiving a few emails about ideas for shows, and I really appreciate that. It means a lot. Thank you for listening and sharing and being a part of this. It truly means more than you know. Until next time, here's the loud riffs, quiet sips, and the stories in between.